Alright, let's finish this off, John, with CM Punk. You ready, man?
Cult of personality, baby. I've asked you to start all these off, so I guess I'm going to start this one off now. Disclaimer, I have not followed CM Punk's indie journey, so my good friend Alyx will take a few steps back when I give the floor to him and recap that. He has the power to do so. I'm going to start when he debuted on ECW, and if I'm not mistaken, he beat Just Incredible in his debut, and we had seen a few segments leading up to it. You know, I'm straight edge, and my only addiction is competition, which, by the way, love that catchphrase. I love that, this is what he wanted to do. I could see the passion in his eyes from day one. He's saying, I'm here to be the best, I'm here to wrestle, I'm here to knuckle up, I'm here to make a name for myself. And I think ECW was the perfect breeding ground for CM Punk. What did you think about the debut?
Oh, it was perfect. I thought ECW brand was the perfect brand to debut for CM Punk because he was somebody working his way up from the bottom to the top. And he would have easily lost himself in the shuffle on Raw or SmackDown. And like you, I loved his gimmick. I love how he came in with a promo. My addiction is not drugs or smoking or anything else like that. It's competition. He wanted to be that wrestler. He just wanted to prove that I am the best competitor out there. That want, that desire, as you said before with Shawn Michaels earlier in our commentary series, that need to show people that I am somebody to watch out for. I am somebody to, really get into because I love to compete. And that's all I want to do. I just want to be a wrestler. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. And it really showed. He elevated himself up the card, feuding with the likes of Mike Knox and Shannon Moore and Hardcore Holly and the like. He never, actually, no, take that back. I'm going to say in that period in the beginning, didn't really get the ECW championship like some other guys that came in did. It would take CM Punk a little bit longer to get to that point. I remember he was in the Elimination Chamber match at December to Dismember. He was in the Extreme Elimination Chamber. I don't remember his performance. Did you see that match?
I didn't see that match. Sadly, I didn't see it.
I'm assuming it was a solid performance. It's Punk we're talking about. If any performance is less than solid from him, I would personally be shocked. But then we see that in 2007, he feuded with my boy, John Morrison, over the ECW Championship. It was
fantastic feud. It was amazing.
Yes. The guy was originally supposed to be Chris Benoit. I'm not going to open up any stitches there. I'm just going to move straight through. It was Night of Champions. Then Johnny Nitro took Benoit's place. An interesting factoid, Alyx. Johnny Nitro at the time had only been on the ECW brand for 2 weeks. And, beat CM Punk to become ECW champion. And I actually told my good friend WBTNA on my life this a few days ago that feud between Punk and Morrison was one of the best things to happen to the ECW championship because I think that was one of the, and I put this in air quotes, world titles to really be considered a wrestling championship. Your thoughts about that, Alyx?
I agree, man. I completely agree with you. It was one of those titles that, because of who was holding it and who was defending it, John Morrison, it became one of those titles to where you actually have to out-wrestle your opponent to prove that you're worthy of being a champion. And that's exactly what CM Punk did. And, he showcased that, not just in WCW, when he got moved up to Raw, when he won the Money in the Bank, when he, was all over the place. So CM Punk, actually, I'll go ahead and say it, from his debut to about SmackDown 2009, he was actually the exact same person. He held that competition nature, that need to really be a wrestler and live off of his love for competition and not drugs and alcohol, and be that opposite, be that somewhat role model, but not really. Be that person that, John, help me out here. How would we...
he was a guy that just, again, wanted to be the best. And what I loved about his build towards the ECW Championship, he earned every opportunity he had. Nitro beats him at Night of Champions, becomes the champion, becomes Morrison, and Punk, I guess, gets that rematch at SummerSlam, and, beats him then. Then, we get the Great American Bash, and Punk, I think, had beaten Morrison at 15 Minutes of Fame to get that opportunity, then to get another title shot in an edition of ECW. Punk wins a Fatal 4-Way against the likes of Boogeyman, Miz, and Big Daddy V. So the thing about Punk was not only was he a great wrestler, he earned every opportunity he got. As a face, he was never handed anything, especially because we had the heel general manager, Armando Estrada, Punk always earned contendership, and I think that really says a lot about any kind of chaser to a championship, where I feel like nowadays, most contenders nowadays just get handed the opportunities, where Punk always consistently earned them. Even when he came up short, he just came back up, and he clawed his way back up, and there you go.
It was crazy, man. And like you said, he earned everything he fought for, like the Money in the Bank briefcase in 2008, cashed in on Edge, became the world champion. That championship reign didn't last very long. He eventually lost it to Randy Orton after getting punched. He didn't lose it to Randy Orton, but he lost it as a result of Randy Orton punching him in the head and having him vacate the championship reluctantly. He didn't want to do it, but he had no choice but to because he couldn't compete. Which then spun off into a feud for them. He would eventually win the IC championship from William Regal, a tag team championship with Kofi Kingston, and then get moved to SmackDown, where we would get the first evolution in his character. In a feud with Jeff Hardy. That year, CM Punk won another Money in the Bank briefcase, and then cashed it in on Jeff Hardy. And, the cash in itself showed evolution to his character. Because, CM Punk cashed it in on Jeff Hardy, hit the go to sleep, pinned him, and then when Jeff Hardy kicked out, we saw CM Punk actually get frustrated, but it was only for a split second. He got frustrated, but he controlled it. He was like, okay, alright, you know what? I'm not gonna let that get to me. I'm just gonna try it again. It was cool. It was cool to see that for a split second because it shows that, okay, even CM Punk has cracks in him. And then over time, we started seeing the crowd hate on CM Punk more and more because Jeff Hardy was over. He was the guy that everybody wanted to be like. He was the guy that people got behind. And, CM Punk was all like, okay, what the fuck's going on? When I cashed it in on Edge, everybody loved me. Now all of a sudden, I cashed it in on Jeff Hardy, everybody hates me. What's going on here? And, he started to relate to Jeff Hardy. He started to see Jeff Hardy as a problem because it's like, why are you getting behind Jeff Hardy? What is it about Jeff Hardy that makes you get behind him? He's a druggie. He's everything that I'm not. He's the opposite of me. It relates to what Chris Jericho went through with HBK. It was one of those things where it's like, look, I'm the guy that's about competition. What's going on? Why are you getting behind Jeff Hardy? I'm the guy that's doing things the right way, and here you are getting behind Jeff Hardy. So, first off, John, do you have anything you want to say about that?
I think it showed a very interesting side of human nature. I mean, you have CM Punk cutting promos leading up to ultimately him saying, fuck you, saying, like you said, people loved when I cashed in on Edge, to the point where he actually won a Slammy for it. You have him representing the straight edge lifestyle, don't drink, don't smoke, don't do drugs. And Jeff Hardy, I don't want to say he's the antithesis of that, because I feel like that'd be kind of cool, because again, we know the problems that Jeff Hardy deals with, and I'm just going to leave it at that. But really, those two couldn't be any more opposite. And, it really showed the complexities of CM Punk as a heel. Again, he wasn't cookie cutter. He was a man. He was actually more of a Magneto heel than anybody around that time, because, again, he had morals that he strongly believed in, and morals that weren't even wrong. They were morals that people should get behind. In fact, Alex, I remember a lot of YouTubers, and potentially you included, because I was subscribed to you at the time, a lot of you guys thought it was funny that CM Punk, the guy who stood for all these good virtues, was the heel, where Jeff Hardy, who wasn't necessarily an evil guy, but really had a messed up past, really couldn't seem to piece his life together, was the face. And I tend to agree. I thought it was quite intriguing, the roles that these two would end up playing, because if you put on paper everything that Punk stood for, it would be obvious to anybody, oh yeah, he's clearly the face in this feud, but that was not the case.
Also, what I thought was really awesome about that little heel turn was the connection that CM Punk formed with the audience because of it. Because up to that point, CM Punk was just doing things for the sake of competition. I'm just going to wrestle, and people like it, they like it. If they don't like it, they don't like it. And then when he saw people get behind Jeff Hardy, who we saw as, no, this is a guy they shouldn't get behind, he turned himself into a role model for the generation. Or I forgot what he called himself back at the time, but he said something along the lines of, I am a role model for this generation, or for generations, or something like that. And he became the savior of that audience. And his morals, once again, they weren't bad. It's just, once again, he was the type of guy that just played himself off as, you're not supposed to smoke, you're not supposed to drink, anybody that does that is wrong. And of course, in life, when life is hard on you, people go to smoking and drinking to really help get through life. CM Punk was the type of guy where it's like, I don't need to smoke, I don't need to drink, I'm disciplined enough, I'm better than you. See what I'm getting at, John? And that is why his heel gimmick worked so awesomely. Because CM Punk was disciplined. He understood that, hey, life is hard, but I don't need to smoke, I don't need to drink. He was able to persevered through life without using smoking or drinking as clutches to help get through it. And it worked awesomely as a heel gimmick, and it worked perfectly as a savior gimmick, which eventually led with the Straight Edge Society thing. Like you said, the McNeil thing, I think it was perfect for CM Punk.
He was an elitist. You know, he was the guy that could look at a guy like me, because I have my own vices, though not the vices that he was completely against, but I think all humans have their vices. But CM Punk was the first human that was composed entirely of virtue. And he stuck his nose up at everybody, and he was an elitist. He said, I'm straight edge, and I'm better than you, point blank. So I find it so funny how CM Punk doesn't have to change the morals, doesn't have to change what defines him. He just has to change the direction in which he's promoting those energies and those values. Because on the drop of a dime, what people began to love and, you know, herald as CM Punk, as this great superstar, you know, bursting onto the scene of WWE, people began to loathe and probably light up cigarettes in front of him. Just be like, fuck this, I'm going to smoke right in front of you, what are you going to do about it? So it became almost antagonistic, these morals. Like CM Punk was challenging these people. Are you going to give into your vice, or are you going to get out of them? And, you know, he thought he was the best thing in the world. And I really enjoyed this elitist CM Punk. I thought it was very underutilized, as we would see in the Straight Edge Society with Luke Gallows, Serena, and later on Joey Mercury. I felt like the group had the talent. It just didn't have the booking power, and it didn't have the support from the creative minds at Titan's Tower to really be something. I love how CM Punk, with the gimmicks, also changes his look. Because then he just started to look like this hobo with this greasy hair and this whacked out, like, Charles Manson beard. And it's just, you know, it was ridiculous. And I love how CM Punk would present himself, and I just loved how he kept his feet firmly planted in the ground. He just spit in a different direction, in the faces of the people.
You know, even when he was wearing his mask. During that time when he had that, well, it was actually after his feud with Rey Mysterio, but man, it was nice to see, you know, CM Punk just filtered his personality in a different fashion, and it made for a great heel. And to see that heel evolve more and more as time went by from 2009 to 2010, so the tail end of 2010 when he got injured, he went on commentary, you know, and he just became this snarky, smart aleck, showed a different side to CM Punk's personality. He was still straight edge, he was still the elitist like you say he was, but he wasn't like forcing it on anybody anymore. He went back to, hey, it's just, okay, now I'm just being me again, you know what I'm saying? He went back to just being, it's all about me right now, I'll just do what I need to do. But he was still snarky. He was still the elitist, like you said, but more toned down. We didn't see him come back out until Nexus 2. And honestly, John, you have to take this one from here. You'll have to explain how the connection between Nexus 2, CM Punk, and the previous CM Punk, because it's kind of...
I'll tell you how it came to be.
Yeah.
I'll tell you how it came to be. The greatest affront to another man in pro wrestling history, Diet Soda. John Cena was so careless, he spilled it. I mean, it's not like Punk was drinking it or anything. Arrogant ass. And then, you know, it just came. Nexus was feuding with Cena at the time, and he said, I don't care what incarnation you are, my mission is to take you out. And then that's how Punk came back. You know, he laid Cena out with a steel chair, put on the armband, and that was actually a spine-chilling moment for me. I actually really didn't like how the group would turn out. I honestly thought the core was better, if you want my honest opinion. But the inception of it, my God, what a moment. Because you had Punk, he's contemplating hitting Cena with the chair, and he's like, no, I'm going to restrain myself. Again, Alex, like you said so brilliantly, the discipline. Folds the chair in its rightful position, sits in it, and he just stares at him. And he's saying, checkmate. That's what he's saying, because he didn't need to do anything else, Alex. He won in his mind because he has the numbers game now. He outwitted John Cena, and that's what always mattered most to CM Punk. It wasn't about facing the beefcakes and who could flex the most powerful muscles. No, it was the mind. And that's what CM Punk took pride in. He took pride in who he was and how he thought. And to me, that was such a great moment for CM Punk.
Thank you for tying that in, John. I think that's exactly what it established. This pretty much established the mind of CM Punk. You know, you had this guy going around and pretty much saying throughout the years of 2009 and 2010, yeah, I'm going to change the world. I'm going to change the world one person at a time through straight edge, you know? But they never really took the time to establish how he was mentally, to establish his thinking skills. And what he did with John Cena at the beginning of 2011 with the Nexus, that's exactly what he did. It established what kind of a strategist CM Punk is. And it really helped his character. As the years progressed on, he had that feud with Randy Orton, which I don't really want to talk about because it was
0-3.
It was 0-3.
You know, and that to me again, I've made rants in defense of CM Punk, because I've been a Punk fan for a long time, as I know you have been, as I know Preston has been, as I know Ashton has been. And WWE committed so many personal crimes in my mind against CM Punk throughout all the build that we're talking about. I really don't want to touch on that Orton feud, except that, there were some great moments for Punk, assaulting Orton, taking out his leg in front of his wife, and then blowing his wife a kiss. That was a real mindfuck, and that's what I loved about Punk, the ability to play on those emotions. Honestly, Alyx, and I know some people are going to be like, whoa about this, and I know I'm taking a huge leap in the pool here and praying to God there's water in it, there were moments that CM Punk was a part of that I thought he was more cerebral than the cerebral assassin himself. I mean, what do you think about that?
That's a really big statement to make, but honestly, dude, I would honestly say I would agree with you. I think that was one of those moments where CM Punk was executing moves at a point where it just looked so stiff and so, whoa, man. I agree with you on that statement, so it's crazy. So if people will disagree with that, leave it down in the comment section.
I just feel like there were moments for Triple H, like, for example, when he turned on Flair, I felt like it was a great segment. And don't get me wrong, even the moments where I say it wasn't really Triple H being cerebral, that doesn't mean I'm saying it's not a great segment. I mean, I want people to understand what I'm saying here. I'm not saying that the moments where he really wasn't the cerebral assassin weren't great, moments. It just, where was the intellect in it? Like when he beat down Flair. I don't know about you, Alyx. I thought it was more barbaric than intelligent. But in comparison, CM Punk taking out the leg of Randy Orton right in front of his wife and then blowing the wife a kiss. I mean, that was a mindfuck. And that was saying, I'm willing to get into Viper's head. He hears voices in his head. The only voice he's hearing right now is mine. And I'm going to beat him at WrestleMania, and I'm going to prove why I'm the best. That's why I said some. I'm not saying CM Punk is a better cerebral assassin in the game, but I thought there were moments where CM Punk was a better psychologist as far as character goes than Triple H. And I stand by it.
And the ultimate evolution to CM Punk's character, when, I think everybody remembers that promo. That promo, I always talk about it in June 2011. It was crazy. Earlier this summer, the summer of Punk. The build-up to it, well, I don't think it was intentionally, but the way it got there was pretty fucking amazing. You had CM Punk has been frustrated for like a long period of time, even since 2010. Straight Society wasn't working very well. He was frustrated with that. When in the commentary, he was frustrated because he couldn't wrestle, because he was injured, so he had to do commentary. And then he came back to work with Nexus. That flopped. It's just frustration just built up to the point that this man that was so, disciplined, this man that was able to control those emotions, all that pent up frustration finally came out. And what came out was probably a groundbreaking promo that changed the business for years to come. Everybody remembers when CM Punk sat on the stage, and during that time he even told the WWE Universe, I'm leaving. I'm going to leave the WWE when July hits, when a certain date hits. But he also said, in this period of time, I promise you I will leave the WWE Championship, and I'm going to do things that are going to just be crazy. But the promo itself, God, it just tore everything apart. It just created chaos. He told John Cena he kisses more ass than Hulk Hogan and The Rock. He said Vince McMahon, even when he dies, the company would still be on the dark path that it is because of his stupid family. Triple H and Stephanie McMahon. He rented on the fans. He just killed shit in that promo. And when it happened, the fact that it was CM Punk enough was just shocking. But it was one of those things that's like, holy shit, this is like Austin 316 promo. This was the promo that truly defined who CM Punk was.
To steal a quote from John Morrison, it was the perfect combination of time and place. I think CM Punk was at a place in his career where, as you said, Alyx, it was nothing but frustration. And the time was the PG era. I mean, I think things had become so desensitized at that point that the things that Punk was saying was deemed by a lot of people as revolutionary. So not only do you have a very sensitive and taboo subject matter that CM Punk is spouting off on the microphone, but the internet wrestling fans are loving it because he's saying everything that they wish they could say to the higher-ups in the WWE corporate hierarchy. So CM Punk, with that promo, became, yes, everyone, a champion of the people. He was the rebel with a cause. He wanted to make change. He was frustrated with the direction.
And John, you know what's crazy about this current character of CM Punk right now from his straight edge gimmick? But now, at this evolution of his character, he is once again the savior of the people, but this time bringing change to the business of the WWE to make it better. That to me is like, wow. It's crazy how that ties into this. I just thought that was a great connection between that heel turn and this face turn. Well, not so much face turn, but what would you call this, John, exactly?
What CM Punk did, during that time was shift the parameters of what reality, was. He was blurring the lines, but I think he was doing that more so than any other character at that time. CM Punk was pretty much saying what was wrong with wrestling and what he wanted to make right. He was saying things, again, that any wrestling fan wanted to say. He was saying, John Cena, I don't hate you. I hate the illusion of you. And, I hate this illusion that you're the best. That, people always pander to you. You get the TV time slots. You get the merchandise. I'm barely promoted, and I'm 10 times the wrestler that you are. It was frustration, but it was frustration that I think we all felt collectively. CM Punk was the collective frustration and anger we all had towards John Cena personified, and he made it work so brilliantly. I love that promo, and I know one YouTuber who uploaded it. The video went viral, and you know what that told me? In that one promo, CM Punk brought back one word that a lot of people thought was dead forever in pro wrestling: relevance.
Man, fucking crazy. What pisses me off about this is, at this point in time, that was the peak of his character. I mean, even now, we still see hints of it, CM Punk coming out saying, I'm going to make changes to the business. But WWE has really yet to really capitalize on it. I thought that feud that he started with Triple H after SummerSlam was going to help, lead into the next point of his character, but they blew their lid on that too quickly. They really couldn't really do anything with it. It was one of those things where it's like, God. And for a short time, or at least for that point of the year until he won the championship back at a Survivor Series, his character stayed stagnant. And it just now started to get back on track. And the next step for CM Punk, to me, is whoever he's going to face in 2012, which we hope is Chris Jericho. If it's Chris Jericho, that is the perfect person for him to face right now. Because that is probably the only person that I know of that can give him the contract that he needs to reach the next evolution in his character.
You took the words right out of my mouth. I really cannot add anything to that except, Jericho again will act as the perfect antithesis. And I think that's why a lot of these characters work so well, Alyx. They need that foil. And that's what we've seen consistently, with Chris Jericho, with The Rock, with Stone Cold. And, I feel like we've seen that with Punk and Laurinaitis, and we soon may see that with, Punk and Jericho. And I feel like, with Punk, I really want to see this WWE Championship reign go the distance. I don't think he should drop it until Money in the Bank of 2012. And how poetic and symbolic would that be? The birthplace of the revolution could also be the very end of it, at least, for the person who takes the title off Punk at that venue, if that's how it plays out.
And I do want to touch on this really quickly, is about CM Punk and where he is right now in WWE. The one thing that I fear for CM Punk, I like to relate him and John Cena when it comes to this category. CM Punk right now is at a stagnant stage. And the type of babyface that he is right now, he's that one babyface that is so good. He is so opposing. He is such a strong, he's become such a hot commodity that it's like, you can't just put him up against anybody. You put Del Rio up against him, it's like, yeah, Punk's gonna kick his ass. He doesn't serve as that strong antagonist that he needs that will counteract who he is. And if WWE doesn't find that strong antagonist soon, what I fear is he's going to become the next person that the fans turn on. That, to me, is the one thing I don't want to happen to CM Punk. I fear that eventually, if WWE does not get CM Punk a person to face and truly counteract who he is, fans will turn on him. Like they turned on John Cena, they will turn on CM Punk, and God, what a travesty that would be.
But you know what, though? It'd be a travesty that would be self-inflicted on the people. I'm going to be very candid with our audience, Alyx, and I've kept myself restrained, so I'm not going to go off the handle. But I recorded our Twitwow podcast with fellow horseman Ian Izzle, And I actually went off on fans who were celebrating the fact that Randy Orton was injured. I said, that's really sickening. You're taking happiness and you're feeling pride in the fact that a man's been put on the shelf. And if those same people will turn on CM Punk, what do you want? And I'm going to ask you that point blank, because I'm going to speak in Chris Jericho terms. Me want wrestling in product. What do you want? You're reveling in the fact, Orton's going to be out for 6 months. Yay! And it's like a celebration in the streets. And now you're going to turn on CM Punk. Say he's overrated, say he's this, say he's that. I'm not saying all wrestling fans, but I do believe there is a group of wrestling fans out there, Alyx, who quite honestly only watch this product for something to fight against. CM Punk was the perfect model of that. They were all rallying behind him. They're like, yes, we've waited so many years for somebody like him. He's going to fight the corporate machine that we hate so much. Guess what? He's become immersed in it because he's the champion. So now they're looking for something else to fight against, and then they take Punk down, so they nip at Punk's heels. Alyx has said it far better than I ever could on my best day firing up a webcam. You either get with it or you get left behind. Randy Orton has a family that he needs to feed. The idea that you're happy about him being injured, you can call him a politician, you can say this and that. He's a human being at the core. I don't know where the decency went for your fellow man. But in regards to Punk, it's hypocritical and it's disgusting. And Alyx, I really apologize if I seem like I'm really flying off the handle, but the idea, the same people who could be such a big part of this revolution that CM Punk is trying so hard to do. He said in a radio interview, everybody wants these ice cream bars. I can't give it to you tomorrow. I'm such a student of the game. I'm thinking about 10 years. And guess what? Me and the Horsemen, so are we. We're students of the game. We're thinking about 10 years. We're thinking about the commentaries we're going to do at that period of time and how we're going to elevate this business. Are you? Why are you so concerned and obsessed with nipping at heels and taking down people and breaking them down? What is it you envy so much about CM Punk and Randy Orton? What? Because they achieved the dream? Because in tough economic times, in a time when our nation could be at its ugliest point, you can't do what you want to do with your lives? Do something about it. Take some goddamn initiative instead of trying to bring other people down. It's disgusting. It actually makes me ashamed to be a human being. If you want me to be so candid, it's disgusting to me. It makes me ashamed to be a wrestling fan. It makes me ashamed to be a part of this community. It makes me ashamed to be a part of this earth. When a day comes when a man could fire up a video and actually celebrate and mark out over another man being injured, or turn around and spit in the face of CM Punk when he has tried so damn hard to represent you because you're so damn critical of PG or this or that, and he tries to bring some pride and some credibility back into a product, and all you can do is turn a blind eye and hawk a loogie before you leave? Fuck you, dude. Seriously. What the hell is your problem?
John echoed me perfectly. Again, wrestling fans, you have a guy that is giving you what you want, what you've been begging WWE to give you for years. Pro wrestling in the main event. Yes, he's small. Yes, he's not a John Cena or a Batista or a Goldberg or a Big Show or a Mark Henry. I'm sorry that he can't, be this big muscle-bound guy that, you're so used to, and that's part of tradition. It's 2011 now. It's no longer 1984, where the heavyweights were the only ones that went out to the World Heavyweight Championship. No. The World Championship is open to everybody because of a Rey Mysterio, because of a CM Punk.
Because of a Daniel Bryan. And let me just say this, Alyx, because I really do feel bad about going off there. I really do apologize. I feel like that was somewhat disrespectful on my part. I want to apologize to people who took it the wrong way.
John, you don't have to do anything. What you did, John, was exactly what I felt should have been said. You spoke the truth. Because it's one of those things where it's like, wrestling fans, come on now. Really. It has to come to a point where, once again, we have to put away our critical minds and just be wrestling fans. CM Punk. Don't you get why we included him in this list? We included him in the list with Shawn Michaels, Stone Cold Steve Austin, The Rock, Triple H, and others. Randy Orton, Mick Foley. Because this guy right here, this man is our key to a golden era. CM Punk epitomizes everything that a top star needs has for us to be led into a golden era. The only thing that he is missing is a strong antagonist to help him get there. Like Austin had with McMahon, like Chris Jericho had with Stephanie McMahon, like The Rock had with everybody else, like Triple H was a strong antagonist. All CM Punk needs is that person to really give him that opposition to where he can showcase what he can do, and we're going to get great TV again. I know what it is. But fans, you really have to decide with yourselves. With CM Punk, some of you saying he can't draw, which is one of those statements that just piss me off. He sold out Chicago Money in the Bank. He sold out Los Angeles. He sold out Monday Night Raw not too long ago. But people say he can't draw. Yes, he's not a Rock. Yes, he's not Stone Cold Steve Austin. You want to know why? Because people won't watch him. The same people that say, well, I want CM Punk to be in the main event. When he's in the main event, you stop supporting him. You're part of the reason he's not drawn. And I'm sorry that I'm ranting on the wrestling fans, and that's against the law to rant on the wrestling fans. And some people might say it was WWE's fault. Yes, it is WWE's fault. But it's also the fault of the people who say they support him, but then when he's at the top, you fall off the cliff, and you stop supporting him. It would be a travesty to me to see you fans turn on a guy like CM Punk, who is exactly what pro wrestling is about. He epitomizes pro wrestling from his days in the Indies to his days in ECW to where he is now.
To me, Alyx, you know what? I want everybody to understand we're not generalizing wrestling fans. We're just calling out those that deserve to be called out on. That's why I apologize. Of course, I have said, and that makes me a hypocrite. I'll be the first one to wear that badge with pride. I have said, don't apologize, just don't do it. So should I have flown off the handle? No, I shouldn't have. I could have stated those exact same things in a more respectful way. Anybody who was offended, I do apologize. But I will say this. I think that it is deserved in some circles. I think what Alyx just said was a hell of a lot of truth. Hey, I grew up with Guerrero, Benoit, very fresh Rey Mysterio at the time, Edge, Kurt Angle. I grew up with wrestling. And maybe that's why I'm taking this mission with the Horsemen so seriously, because I've said time and time again, my three fellow stablemates here, Eon Izzle, Deluxe Man, Preston, they can all do what they want, because I know whatever they do is going to gravitate towards greatness, because that's just how damn good they are. My mission is to be what it always has been since I joined this community only a few short years ago, that is to be the best. But now the mission has become much grander. It's become much bigger than myself, much, much bigger. It is to bring credibility back to the sport I love so much. It is to bring pride back to the sport that put my hero, my idol, my admiration 6 feet into the ground. It is to look back on it and say, we elevated it. I am so tired. I would wake up some days and I'd be like, it's not worth it anymore. I don't want to make videos. I don't want to be this way. Again, it's that self-loathing that you begin to develop. And I was honest with my stablemates about it. There were parts of me that I began to despise and parts of me that were in my videos. And one of those parts that I'm trying so hard to do away with is being a destroyer. I'm tired of plundering my hands into something and taking it apart. I want to put something together brick by brick. And CM Punk says he's in it for 10 years. So am I. Because that's how long it takes to get people to stand on their soapboxes and instead of bitching and moaning and pissing, actually celebrates even one goddamn thing. And I can leave and I can say, that was a job well done. I am a horseman till I die. I am a shooter until I die. And I'm not in it for the subs. I'm not in it for the view count. I know neither is Alyx, neither is Preston, neither is Eon. We are in it to do one thing better than anybody else. Make wrestling matter again. TNA, take a seat and take notes, because you're going to see how it's done. Because whether it's one commentary or 1,000, that is why I am here. That is why Punk is here. Because he pays tributes to the likes of the Macho Men, doing the elbow drop and wearing the tights. You know what we call that? We call that respect. Eddie Guerrero overcoming his demons, winning a WWE Championship, clutching his mother in his arms, tears in his eyes, looking up in the heavens and saying, "Thank you, Dad," as he holds that WWE Championship high. Chris Benoit making Triple H tap out Madison Square Garden in WrestleMania 20, winning the World Heavyweight Championship. Rey Mysterio 2 years later, in the memory of Eddie Guerrero, WrestleMania 22. That's pride. That's what I live off of. That's what CM Punk lives off of. And that's what I am bringing this sport back to, alongside the Horsemen and alongside CM Punk and the new regime. Get with it or get out of it, because either way, it is happening. And you can either wake up one day and realize that it passed you by, or damn it, you can wake up one day and say, I was a part of that, and I am proud to be a part of that.
Guys, CM Punk was the perfect wrestler to end this series on. To help you guys understand, this is evolution. This man right here is going to take wrestling to the next level. Get us? Hey, guys, that's our series. I believe this is perhaps one of those commentaries that should really get people talking, because me and John wrecked shit up. And if anybody who watched this entire series through, no matter how many parts it was, I believe it was going to be split into 4 parts, probably 5 parts, how many parts it was. If you watched this entire series, I mean...
Just again, get with it or get out of it. It's happening. It's happening. There is something grand unfolding before our very eyes, and I don't want to blink. I don't want to blink because I don't want to miss a second of this era. We've had Ruthless Aggression. We've had PG. This is an era I'd simply like to call the wrestling era. Zack Ryder's part of it. Daniel Bryan's part of it. Wade Barrett's part of it. Drew McIntyre's part of it. Rey Mysterio will soon be a part of it when he returns. You know, maybe, hopefully John Morrison comes back, but I'm not going to dwell on that. You know what? I'm not heartbroken over John being gone. I'm happy because he's living his life, and wrestling is fantastic right now. You've got CM Punk on his A-game. You've got Daniel Bryan as the Cinderella story, but he'll knock your teeth out if you call him such. This is wrestling. This is what I have loved for 10 years, finally loving me back. I'll be damned if I'm not going to revel every single second of it. Every grain of sand that drops in that hourglass, I'm going to catch in my hand, and I'm going to cradle like a child till the day I die. And to really take this...
Go ahead, John.
No, Alex, but I do want to say something to close, but you take the floor.
No, I was actually, I thought you was done, but go ahead and finish up what you were saying.
I was just really going to say, I was going to close off by thanking you, which is why I wanted to give you the floor. I just really want to thank Alyx for having me here. I mean, he is one of my favorite YouTubers, and seeing him work with my cohort in crime, Preston, who is nothing short of the man, you know, it just made me say, you know, man, Alyx, we got to do a commentary together. We got to wreck shop, and I apologize, you know, for the blunders I made in this video, and Alyx has really been carrying my ass. I'm just so honored, Alyx, so honored to really be a part of this. You're a great friend. You're a great horseman. I think we showed people, I hope we showed people what wrestling is all about, and I cannot tell you how honored I am, how thankful I am to have come here to do this commentary with you. It really means a lot to me.
And it means a lot to me that you was able to be a part of it. YouTubers, leave your thoughts down below. Make a video response to either of the parts. Do what you do. Share your thoughts down below on what these wrestlers meant to you. I hope you enjoyed the commentary. If you want me and John to do more collab videos on different topics, hey, leave it down below. Send it to us over inbox, because me and John, good God, man, when we do commentaries together, we create chaos. I'm telling you, this to me was perhaps one of, no offense to Preston, but perhaps the best collab video that I've done to date. Because we, to me, have done every single one of these men justice. It started off rocky, and I apologize for that, guys, but those of you who stuck through it, thank you for watching. You guys are the best, and we truly hope you enjoyed this and are leaving this commentary with a fresher, more appreciative view of professional wrestling. John, do you have anything else you want to close out with?
Just subscribe to the Horseman guys. Check all of us out. Eon Izzle. Check out the blog, pwbooking.blogspot.com. Follow him on Twitter, apon44. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. Also check out the podcast I do with him, Twitwow. It is now free to download on iTunes. Alyx cannot put over this guy enough. He is the man. He wants to apologize. I should apologize. I was a one-man botch machine. I had more botches than a TNA script. But, you know, me and him, we had so much fun together. The chemistry was electric. And Alyx, I think we really created a moment, you and I. Subscribe to Alyx. Subscribe to his other YouTube channel, DeluxeManV2. The best place for tributes and mashups. Follow him on Twitter. And my boy, Preston. Subscribe to his metal channel, Metallic Enemy Death. Check out the tribute channel, Mysterio Fan Tributes. Subscribe to Beer Money 2K and follow Beer Money 2K on Twitter. I love you guys so much, and all that stuff towards the end, it really spoke from the heart. I do love my fellow wrestling fan. I just want us to come together for the cause of really making wrestling interesting and exciting again. And Alyx, who I consider like a brother, I cannot tell you when I go to sleep tonight how honored I'll feel that we did this and that we came together. I just cannot thank him enough. Alyx, you were a beast. I feel like you killed it, and guys, I really hope you enjoyed it.
Yes, guys. So, So to those who have not subscribed to me yet, and this is the first time you see me, please click that subscribe button right there. As he already said, I'm just going to reiterate. Please follow me on Twitter if you have not. Go subscribe to my second channel for tributes and mashups. And go sub to The Horseman, FearMoney2K, and Eon Izzo. Follow him on his blog spot. Also down there, follow Preston on his second channel. Follow John on, I don't think John has anything to follow, but follow him on his Twitter and his channel if you have not. Guys, the Horsemen are taking over. So, once again, guys, thank you for watching this video. I hope you all enjoy it, and I hope you come out with a different perspective on professional wrestling, at least for these guys. With that said, this is your boy, Deluxe Man, and John for Beer Money 2K, signing off. Peace out.
Horseman 4, baby.